Jessii Vee, and today I am wearing my Boo sweater. Did it scare you when you first saw it? In today's video, we're going to be talking about dreams, and I know I've done a bunch of dream videos on this channel, and that's because I honestly find them to be so fascinating. There's so much to talk about. And back in 2016 or 2017, I believe, I did a whole video talking about the most common dreams that people have. So in today's video, I'm going to be briefly talking about the 5 most common dreams, and then we're going to delve into some very disturbing creepypastas. One is about voices that people have heard in their pillow, which is horrifying, and another one is about astral projection, which you should probably never do. So with that being said, let's jump right into the video. Dreams are your mind's way of working out issues and problems you may not be able to unravel or face during the day, and typically people dream every 90 minutes. So let's go over the top 5 most common dreams. I bet every single person watching this video right now has at least dreamed about one of these things. The first one is obvious, it's the #1 thing, and that is being chased. Maybe you're dreaming about being chased by an animal, a car, a creepy person or monster. And a lot of people complain that they run very slow in their dreams, and it usually means that you're trying to run away from something in your life that's bothering you. The second most common dream is falling. Whether you're falling off a cliff or a skyscraper or just tripping over something in your dream. Have you guys ever suddenly jolted awake in your bed because you felt like you were falling? I have done this beside Ty so many times. We'll be peacefully sleeping and suddenly my arms and legs will like fly in the air because I literally feel like I have to catch myself from falling. It's like the weirdest feeling in the world. If you're falling in a dream, it usually means you're feeling some kind of letdown or overwhelmed and want to assert more control. The next common dream is flying. Maybe you're soaring in an airplane or a helicopter, or you're gliding through the air like a bird. Usually when people dream about flying, it means they're very happy in life. The next most common dream is your teeth falling out. Either you lose just one tooth or all of the teeth just fall out of your mouth. Sometimes you might have a dream about you biting into something like an apple or food and your teeth fall out. I was actually eating popcorn the other day, and literally I bit into one of the popcorns and half of my tooth just popped out. I know that wasn't like a dream, but it was horrifying. I'll never eat popcorn again. Teeth dreams can be related to a conversation that you didn't handle correctly. So maybe you regret something that you said to somebody. And the last most common dream is being back at school. It is common to have a dream in which you can't find a locker or classroom or are unprepared for an exam. It literally just means that you have anxiety surrounding school. I know back when I was in school and I was being bullied a lot by the popular girls, I would often have nightmares of being in school and not being able to escape them. So before we move on to the voices in your pillow creepypasta, I wanted to mention some pretty creepy dream facts. The first one is that you're actually completely paralyzed when you dream. According to the National Sleep Foundation, REM sleep is the part of your sleep cycle where you dream the most. And during this time, your brain becomes a lot more active, but your muscles become more relaxed, and they involuntarily become immobilized. And that's why people have sleep paralysis, because if they wake up in the middle of a dream, they literally can't move in their bed. The next weird fact is that our best sleep will never happen again. The best sleep happens between the ages of 8 to 10 years old. Apparently, if you're in that age group, you sleep all through the night without being woken up. And apparently you have way more REM cycles when you're that age. So if you're watching me right now and you're between the ages of 8 and 10, I'm jealous of you. And the last weird fact is that 12% of the population dreams in black and white. People over 55 who grew up with little access to color television reported dreaming in black and white about a quarter of the time. Now guys, there are 7.594 billion people in the world. So if 12% of those people dream in black and white, that is still over 900 million people. If my math is correct, I'm really bad at math. So let's move on to the creepypasta called Voices in Your Pillow. There was this weird phenomenon that happened quite a few years ago, where these students all in the same exact class were complaining about hearing voices in their pillow. It all happened when this little girl named Jasmine told her parents that whenever she went to bed, her pillow would whisper all these scary things to her. She said she was barely able to get any sleep because of it. She said the pillow voices voices called themselves the Bright Ones, and they wanted to be released into the world. So obviously her parents were concerned about her health and took her to a doctor. And then fast forward to the middle of the school year, one night her parents went to a parent-teacher conference. The teacher said that she was concerned about Jasmine because she would sleep all through class, she would barely pay attention, she looked tired all the time, had dark circles under her eyes. So the parents told the teacher about the pillow voices Jasmine was experiencing. And the teacher's jaw dropped and she said, "I've had 4 other parents here today complaining about the same thing." Apparently 4 other students were complaining about these pillow voices called the Bright Ones. They would beg these children to let them out of their prison, which is just so weird to me. It's like these entities or whatever they are like stuck in the pillow world. Like, it kind of sounds silly to me, but at the same time, I feel like if I was in their shoes and I was going to bed and my pillow was literally whispering into my ear, I would be horrified. I would rather sleep on a rock than sleep on a pillow that spoke to me. Let me live under a rock like Patrick, I would rather be there. Anyways, this was probably just a creepypasta, but the way it was written made it sound so real, like this whole phenomenon that happened years ago. But yeah, if your pillow ever speaks to you, definitely throw it away. And I wonder why they're called the Bright Ones. The next creepypasta I'm gonna talk about has to do with astral projection. So before I get into that story, I briefly want to talk about what astral projection really is. People say it's like having an out-of-body experience. For example, people who have had near-death experiences report finding themselves floating near the ceiling of their hospital room, looking down at themselves in the hospital bed, or observing the medical staff attempting to revive them. And some people are even able to do this exact thing while they're sleeping. Like, they will literally pull themselves out of their body and can see themselves sleeping and can walk around in this other dream world. I know this sort of thing is the theme of the Insidious movie. If you guys have ever seen that movie, they call this other dream world the Further. And there were a lot of creepy looking people who hung out in this further place. So let's get into the creepypasta about this guy who attempted to astral project. He actually wanted to do this after watching the movie Insidious, which I find really interesting. So one night while he was sleeping, he decided to step out of his body. He woke up in his living room with the television on, and he got up and explored the rest of his house. He went through every bedroom, both his bathrooms, and was about to walk out into his backyard to explore further when he felt as if something was off. And just like that, he was awake again, back in his bedroom. The next day, he decided to do a ton of research on astral projection. And during this research, he found a lot of web pages talking about the dangers and how a lot of people actually meet these evil beings while they're astral projecting. There are these ethereal beings that are not friendly or kind to people, and you never want to encounter them while you're doing this. So for the next year, he practiced this astral projection, and he always did it in his basement. So he would just cross his legs while sitting on the floor, he would close his eyes and concentrate, and then he would go and step out of his body. And whenever he would step outside of his house and try to venture into his backyard, he always just would stop. He would feel so weird about it. He just felt this danger, as if he stepped into his backyard, something would be there waiting for him. But one day he really wanted to try it. He wanted to see what would happen if he actually ventured further from his house. So he went into the basement, crossed his legs, closed his eyes, and walked out of his body. He explored his backyard, walking from end to end, and then he decided to make his way back towards the house. As he was about to walk through his back door, he saw something very unnerving and frightening. From his backyard, he could see the small basement window, and for some reason the basement light was on, which he thought was weird because whenever he astral projected down here, he always made sure all of the lights were off. So he walked over and peered through the small basement window, and his heart almost stopped when he saw that there was something else in the room with him. It didn't look like a man or woman, but instead this humanoid creature, and it smelled horrible, like a stench of decay. And this creature was literally pulling his body through through the basement towards a mirror on the wall. So he started tapping on the glass to try to distract this creature to figure out what was going on. His head jolted up to look at him, and it just stared at him and beckoned him to the basement with its one bony finger. So he ran through the house all the way down to the basement. He opened the door and all of the lights were off again, and there was no sign of this creature anywhere. But when he looked for his body, it was sitting right in front of the mirror. It was almost like this creature was about to drag him right through the mirror with it. So he walked back into his body, woke up, and decided he would never astral project again because of this really strange creature that he saw. And when I read this story, I was just so creeped out because the thought of like leaving your body while you're dreaming just freaks me out in general. And then like the thought of meeting a creature while you're doing it, no thank you. So this kind of shows you the dangers of doing stuff like this. I would never recommend it. Bad things can happen. But anyways guys, those are all of the creepy dream things I'm gonna be talking about today. If there's any weird facts that I missed, definitely comment them down below. And yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!